Dare mighty things. That was the message that was hidden in the parachute that safely brought the Mars rover Perseverance down to the red planet this past week. Now, I looked for that secret message at the parachute, and maybe you did too, but all I saw were red and white designs, patterns. But for those who are a lot smarter than I am, and that includes most everybody here, other people looked deeper. And when they did, they saw binary codes. And the internet sleuths decoded that in just 6 hours. 6 hours, decoding a binary code. Dare mighty things. I found out this week that is also the motto for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And that phrase, dare mighty things, comes from a speech from Teddy Roosevelt way back in 1899. And Roosevelt said, close that door, that's what Roosevelt said. And then I said, no, open it back up. Roosevelt said, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor souls who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat. Dare mighty things. Now, that was a theme that Roosevelt would come back to again and again, especially a couple of years later in a speech entitled The Man in the Arena. You might be familiar with it. And in that speech, Roosevelt said, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. I've always loved that speech. If you fail, at least you dared greatly, daring greatly. Dare mighty things. Dare to do great things, even if daring greatly might mean failing greatly. Now, for me, this sounds like a motto for those of us who follow Jesus. It's not a motto just for Teddy Roosevelt. It's not a motto just for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's for all of us who claim Christ. Because to be a person of faith who follows Christ is to be bold and daring. That is part of our DNA. That is who we are called to be. I'll remind you that doormats do not get much done for the kingdom of God. It's the one who walks out the door who helps to realize the kingdom of God right now, who have dared greatly. To dare greatly means getting up off the couch. After all, you have seen everything that Netflix and Disney Plus have to offer. So you're going to get up off the couch and you're going to start to take that first step. That first step. First steps are scary. I know that, and you do too. That's what we're seeing in this story from Genesis about Abraham and Sarah. Now, earlier in Genesis, we have learned that God had said to Abram, that's back when his name was Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. All of that should sound somewhat familiar to us because I frequently pray that we will be blessed to be a blessing. So Abram hears this word from God, go, go. And for a desert people, now put yourself in the desert. Some of you have been to Egypt or Israel. Some of you have served in Saudi Arabia. Some of you have been in the Southwest, and you know how dry and arid and seemingly lifeless the desert can be. So for a desert people, such as Abram, going from your family and from your home country, well, that was as dangerous as planning a trip to Mars. The chance of dying was very, very real. Your family provided shelter, safety, and most importantly, water. But for Abram, it meant leaving what you were for what you might become. Leaving what you were for what you might become. In Abram's case, it meant the promise of becoming a great nation, one from whom all blessings would flow. And we know the story of Abraham, now Abraham, because he said yes to what God was asking. And I always have a little bit of an imagination when it comes to these biblical stories. I actually wonder, was Abraham the first on God's list? Did God have a list of people saying, I want to bless these people, and I'm going to start with Malachi? And Malachi heard what God was asking and went, So God scratched Malachi off the list. And then did he go to another one? Ishmael. Ishmael looks like a likely prospect. Ishmael, go from your father's country and I will bless you. And he says, I'm staying right here. I've always wondered if there were other people that God appeared to who said no to God, because that is always within the realm of possibility. We have free will. In the same vein, I've often wondered if the Blessed Virgin Mary was the first person to whom God approached about bearing his son, or was she just the first person who said, I wonder? Yes, I wonder. Dare great things. Dare great things is what Abraham does, and he leaves everything to follow God and to follow the promise. But fast forward a couple of years. Now we come to the part of the story we've just heard today. Abraham is pushing 100. That's getting up there. And he still has no child of his own through Sarah. Time's a-wasting. In fact, it seems like time is up. And then here comes God. Here comes God who says, walk before me. Walk before me. Now, that phrase captivated me. So I've sat with it a while this week. It seemed odd. We are so used to the image of a God, of Jesus, who walks beside us, just like that beloved hymn we love to sing, In the Garden, where Jesus walks with me and he talks with me, where he is right here. But we don't have that in this story. God says, walk before me. And then I had what I hope is an aha, a godly aha. Walk before me. It means God's got his back. God's got his back. In the military, they'd say, God's got his six. And even at this late date in the life of Abraham, when the promise of a child seems futile, God is demonstrating I have got your back. I've got this. The promise will still hold true, and it does. I think that's what enables all people of faith to dare mighty things, knowing, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that God has our backs. NASA knows that no one is ever truly alone when they dare. I went back this week and I looked at some of the interviews of the people involved with the Mars rover. And I found this interview with NASA's Al Chin, who said the day Perseverance landed, they call her Percy, which I love, the day Perseverance landed, it's a feeling of being very fortunate at the end, that I get to work at a place with people who are both great engineers and great people. And we still get to dare mighty things together. We still get to dare mighty things together. And it's that last word that is the most important. Together. Dare mighty things together. That's what we are doing here today. And that is why it has been so very, very, very hard to be apart. To truly dare for Christ, we need each other. I need you. Just as much as we need to know that God has our backs. We need each other. And maybe that's why this song from dear Evan Hansen has become so important to me during the pandemic. It's called You Will Be Found, which I believe is a poetic way of saying, I've got your back. It's a song for all of us, but in my mind's eye, I can see God singing it to Abraham, who thinks he's at the end of his life, if not the end of his rope, who wonders at the age of 100 if he really can dare mighty things anymore. And then God comes and tells him it's not the end, it is just the beginning. I've got your back. I've always had your back. When you hear this, focus on this part. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you and you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, because you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. God's got your back. Take a listen.
When you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. 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 only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. Out of the shadow, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is new. It's filling up the empty, and suddenly I see that all is new. All is new. You are not alone. 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 Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming out.